Hello to everyone, and how are all of you? Is everyone enjoying? Okay, today in class we will look at the benefits of GST. And we will also look at the definition of GST, definition of goods, definition of services. So we will learn all this today. Now let's go ahead and start with the benefits of the GST. Is GST really beneficial or is it not? If you ask me, my answer would definitely be that yes, it is very beneficial. Tax rates have been significantly reduced under GST. Believe me, students, you can't even imagine how much the tax rates have decreased under GST. If taxes have really reduced so much, then why is there so much fuss about GST? You might be thinking that, aren't you? And there is no acceptance in the market for this. People are against this. Why is that? Because there is no scope for theft in GST. Earlier, if any item had excise duty, VAT or any other taxes, if all of these taxes combined were about 30%, then maybe today there is only an 18% GST on it. Tax rate is very low, but earlier there was scope for tax evasion. Now the scope of evasion has decreased. You will understand how the scope of evasion has been reduced when you read the chapter on returns, right? So that will all be clear later when our concept is built and when we understand the system more better. So we will understand that this system is so strong that the scope for theft is significantly minimized in it. This is the problem for trader. Trader's problem is nothing else, otherwise GST rate is so low there should not be a problem. So many tax laws were removed and GST was brought, so compliance burden also reduced. Before we had to file returns for excise VAT and many other taxes, it was a hassle. Now there is only one problem. If there is only one problem and it has reduced so much, then people's acceptance should increase for this, right? But there is a reduction in acceptance of this because it is very controlled. The government has a very strong control over this. People don't have the scope of cheating in this whole thing. Right, come let's see. Benefits of GST. GST is a win-win situation for the entire country. So our government is saying that we have won. We won in the battle of the GST. They are celebrating. And what is the public saying? The public is saying that we lost. Not public, we would say the traders are saying so. The trader is saying that we lost. Why? There is only one reason for it. Which is that because there is no scope for tax planning here. Right? It will bring benefit to all the stakeholders of the industry. See, it benefits everyone, benefits industry, benefits government and benefits the consumers also. Tax rate is reduced, so it benefits the consumer as well. Okay, the industry also benefits from it because if tax burden is less, then products will be cheaper. If product is cheaper in market, so it will sell more. Right? And even in this case, the government also benefits from this. Why? Because the government is keeping it very controlled and tax collection is also good, right? Has the GST revenue surpassed the taxes collected from old revenue and has it increased more than that? Answer is yes. Earlier taxes that used to come in old regime, from excise and from VAT, meaning all the taxes that were replaced and GST was brought. The tax that was collected in the past, in its comparison, the tax collection is much higher today. We have already surpassed that revenue. The government is still getting benefits. Despite reducing the rate, they are still benefiting. In fact, I shall tell you that when GST came on July 1st, 2017, so even in 28%, there were many items included. 28% GST was levied on many items. And all of those items have been slowly moved to the 18% bracket. Today, the 28% list has become much smaller. At the time when 28% GST was implemented on items, in old regime, the tax on these items were even higher than 28%. Please listen carefully to what I'm saying. A 28% GST was applied to those items, which under the old tax regime had tax rate more than 28%. Then 28% GST was applied on those items. And then the list was reduced by more than half. All of those items were moved to where? In the 18% list gradually. Just think how much tax has reduced in our country. It will lower the cost of goods and services. This will reduce the cost of goods and services, will boost the economy, and make products and services globally competitive. If taxes are reduced in our country, so our product will be cheaper and become competitive in the world market. Let me explain one thing. Earlier a product was worth 100 rupees, okay? Let's suppose combining all the taxes, a tax of 30% was applied on it, so it was sold for 130 rupees in Indian market. Now imported products used to be worth 120 rupees, so they would sell faster. We couldn't compete with international products because taxes were so high in our country. That product was worth 100 rupees. After applying 30% tax, it was sold for 130 rupees in our country, whereas it was imported from abroad for 120 rupees. Suppose if government applied 12% tax rate on it, so it's being sold for 100 plus 12, 112 rupees. Okay, foreign goods were 120 rupees and now our country's good have become competitive and it can compete in the international market, so now our country's good will be sold. Understood? The significant benefits of GST are discussed here under. First, creation of unified national market. GST has created a unified national market. I have already told you earlier that GST was brought with a saying or with a proverb. One nation, one tax, one market. Implementation of GST has made our country a unified market. What does this mean? Earlier, every state in our country was a separate market in itself. I've explained this to you earlier as well. Why were markets separate? Because earlier VAT used to be levied on sales. And since VAT was a state law, so each of the states made its own VAT law. Okay, you know on a particular product there could be 20% VAT in one state, 10% VAT in another state, and some states might even not have any VAT, means a 0% VAT. So the price of every product would differ. The price was different in every other state. In a particular state A, good was sold for 100 rupees, but 20% VAT was added on top of that. So after adding 20 rupees, it was sold for 120 rupees. And there's another state called B state. Here it is sold for 110 rupees. Okay? Let's assume that the VAT here is 5.5%. Sorry, let's say that it is 5%. So how much is it? It has become 5 rupees and 50 paisa. Okay? VAT is 5%. Which is 5 rupees 50 paise, so it is selling for 115 rupees. Here VAT was for 5% and in this state VAT was for 20%. Now you all please concentrate, think and tell me, which of these two manufacturer is offering goods at a more competitive rate? State A, he is willing to sell it for 100 rupees. This supplier from A state is selling it at correct rate. He is selling it at 100 rupees, but due to VAT the price of his goods become 120 rupees. B state one is selling expensive, he is not a competitive supplier. But luckily, he is in the state B and so he is able to sell the good for 115 rupees and 50 paise only. Right? Now try to understand this, that there's a recipient from state B, okay? A buyer from state B. Will he purchase the good from state A even though he's selling it cheaper? No, he will not purchase it. Why? Because the VAT is so high there that goods become worth 120 rupees. Basically what was happening then is, if I try to explain that each state had a separate market of its own. If there was single rate of tax, then the whole of India would have uniform competition. That wasn't happening. Okay? Rate of VAT was ruining the entire competition. What would we gain by selling our goods 2% cheaper if VAT rate is 10% higher in my state? Understand? So each individual state was a different market in India. But now, since the introduction of the GST, as it has one single rate and one tax, this has made India a unified national market. It's a benefit of GST. GST aims to make India a common market with common tax rates and procedures, and remove the economic barriers, thus paving the way for an integrated economy at the national level. You see, to be honest, we don't really need to become a national market. We want to become an international market. Okay? That India is an international market. That's how much competitive we want to become. But before the GST, in the pre-GST time, we were not even a national market. So this is a great benefit which we have got from the GST, that India has become a unified national market. Now second. Next, mitigation of ill effects of cascading. Cascading means tax on tax. So meaning of cascading is tax on tax. Previously there was tax on tax, but now there's no tax on tax. Why? Because all taxes were removed and became a single tax, GST, so how will tax on tax come? Earlier tax on tax was imposed. I will give you an example of how tax on tax used to happen before. It's a 100 rupees product, this is a manufacturer. If he supplies it for 100 rupees, then first he has to apply excise duty. He will apply excise duty. Now let's say the excise duty rate is 10%. So 10 rupees excise duty will apply on it and it will become 110 rupees. Plus, let's say there is VAT after that, and let's assume it is also 10%. So 11 rupees VAT will apply. So it would become 121 rupees. Did you notice where 10% VAT was applied on this? On 110 rupees, not on 100 rupees. So within this 110 rupees, there's a 10 rupees duty as well. So did you not notice that duty is levied on top of another duty? On top of this tax, we are imposing a tax of 10%, that is 11 rupees on 110 rupees. So this means that the 11 rupees VAT is actually applied on both on the 100 rupees and also on the 10 rupees. So tax is applied on top of tax. In the old regime, tax was applied on tax, which was very messed up thing. That's over now. This is a benefit it's explaining. Elimination of multiple taxes. Multiple taxes which were there has been eliminated. And it's been replaced with a single tax. So is it good or not? Yes, this is very good. Okay, and double taxation is over, tax on tax is over, and it's just repeating the same thing. Let's read both these points now by subsuming most of the central and state taxes into a single tax, and by allowing a set off of prior stage taxes. Tax credit from the previous stage keeps getting added. We referred this earlier as well. That what do we do from output tax? We subtract input tax. For transaction across entire chain value, it would mitigate ill effects of cascading, improve competitiveness, and improve liquidity of business. Elimination of multiple taxes and double taxation. GST will subsume majority of existing indirect tax levies both at central and state level into one tax, that is GST, which will be leviable uniformly on goods and services. This will make doing business easier and will also tackle the highly disputed issues relating to double taxation of a transaction as both goods and services. Boost to the Make in India initiative. First of all, tell me, do you know about Make in India? What is Make in India? What does Make in India mean? This is actually a very big initiative of our government which is called Make in India. We will manufacture goods in our own country. Okay, we will manufacture it in our country, but where would we sell it? We will sell it all over the world. Sell it all over the world and we will make it in India. Who will make it? What does Make in India mean? Who will make it? Whether an Indian company will make it or foreign company or anyone can make it. Listen carefully to what the point is. Make in India goods will be made in India. So this Make in India initiative is exactly copied from the Made in China initiative. Okay. 25 to 30 years ago from today. China's economy did not exist anywhere in the world economy. Whereas today it is the topmost, it is one of the most powerful economies. China is preparing to confront the US. Okay, China has so much power that it brings dispute in international trade. It did not even exist 30 years ago. But China started the Made in China initiative approx 30-35 years ago. And do you know what this Made in China means? What it means is that what China did is, first, the labor cost that was there was very cheap because it was not a developed economy. Second thing is that they had extra space. Geographically, China is very large. Since there were many places, so they invited the entire world to come and do their business in China. Make the goods in China. And in return, what we will do is, we will charge less tax from you, provide you with cheap labor, and will also give you land at a cheaper rate to set up your industry. So what were the benefits of doing business in China? China was saying that they will provide cheap land, and second, labor here is available at a cheap rate anyway. We are a poor country. Mind you, China was a poor country at that time. Okay, they said labor will be available at cheap price. And third thing, we will also charge less taxes. So if you take a look at the position today, you will see and you will realize that every company in the world has a manufacturing unit in China. There is one industry, in my opinion, where there wouldn't be any company from that trade in the world that wouldn't have set up a manufacturing unit there, and it's mobile industry. There is no mobile company in the world that does not have a factory in China. Even Apple has factory in China. Mobiles that come to India are routed from China. The US one does not come. Apple phones too. So every company has put their industry. Now what benefits has China derived from this and how did they grow their economy? People went there, manufactured goods. So did they manufacture goods and sold it only in China? No, they sold it all over the world. There were a lot of manufacturing and a lot of tax collection happened, although the percentage of tax was low. But collection was huge because they sold their goods all over the world. Second point, their income was huge, so a lot of taxes were collected there. A lot of employment was created for their people, which boosted their economy. And the one final thing is that China has learned everything. Today, China ranks first in the field of manufacturing in the world. Okay, everything is made in China. There is literally nothing in the world that is not made in China. Why? Because companies worldwide set up factories in China and Chinese labor learn to make everything. Today you see the manufacturing cost is so cheap in China that as soon as we see cheap stuff, we quickly say that it is Chinese. Because China has the capability to produce cheap goods. They have seen the technology from all over the world. Their labor is now so well equipped that they can make anything they want because China learned technology from all over the world by having so many factories there. Learned everyone's system and China knows how to make every product. Okay, now what China does is that all the businesses operating, do you know that majority of the businesses in China are controlled by the Chinese government only? And therefore they have grown this big. China has done it in 40 years. Modi ji also has the same dream. By Make in India initiative that we will make our country strong and build a very strong economy. How? We will ask the whole world to come and do business here. We will give them cheaper land and we will take less taxes from them. And I also mentioned in the income tax how the government has given tax benefits to manufacturing units to come and do business in India, and it's taking 15% tax from manufacturing companies, which is much lower than our tax rate. So, do you see all these benefits? The government is bringing Make in India initiative. GST will also boost the Make in India. How? You see, manufacturing costs will be lowered. If tax rates in our country are low, as the introduction of GST has reduced tax rates, as the tax rate is low, the manufacturing cost and the total cost of the product will be low. If product cost decrease, so competitiveness will increase. Right, so the more competitive our product becomes, the more it will sell. Our product will sell more, so our product will be manufactured more. So did Make in India got a boost? Yes. I'll repeat my point. Government is saying that Make in India is getting a boost because of GST. And this goal will also be achieved faster. How? I will repeat this again because GST will reduce the cost of production. Okay, because taxes are lower, so overall product will sell cheaper, and when product is sold cheaper, the demand will be higher. More competitiveness will lead to more demand will lead to more manufacturing, and more manufacturing will boost Make in India. Okay. Then, buoyancy to the government revenue. Buoyancy literally means lightness or easiness. What is called lightness? Visualize yourself lying on a beach in Goa. Yes. And money is constantly coming. Our account is loaded with money and we are enjoying on the beach. So this is what we call buoyancy. Okay. This is the feeling of buoyancy. This is lightness for government also. How? Here also the lightness is same. They were implementing and managing multiple laws and then collecting pennies from everyone. One tax was made and money is coming continuously. Okay, so the GST is a lightness for the government, a comfortness, and is also a simplification and a super convenient way of collecting money. So, GST is expected to bring buoyancy to the government revenue by widening the tax base and improving taxpayer compliance. Okay, look now, the GST has not reached the final stage yet, understand this. Right, GST is still in its growing phase and its maturing phase. When GST is fully mature, you will see how much happiness it brings to government. Right. The system has not been significantly strengthened, but it will get strengthened in coming times. Right. This means you will be taught everything here and there will not be anything left out. You will understand the entire system from within. How government has done this, why did they do it, how are they controlling it, and how it's stopping theft, I'll explain it all. But if some theft is happening, then how it is happening, I will explain that also. Right, I will also explain the government plans for the future and how they will stop this. That means, does the government know you are stealing this way? The answer is yes, the government knows, but why is the government forced to not stop it and letting it happen a little? I will explain that also. And I will also tell you how it will stop in the future. Right, but we need to mature for that. We need to become a little more mature for this, okay? By the time we finish with GST, you will be able to understand all this. It was fun, right? Okay. Now that we know the benefits, so now let's find out the definition of GST. What is GST? Let's define it. And where is this definition of GST? This definition is written in our constitution. What is GST? Its definition is not in the GST Act. What is GST? Its definition is actually written in the constitution. This is in our constitution. Let's see how GST is defined in our constitution. The term GST is defined in Article 366, 12A to mean any tax on supply of goods or services or both. Any tax on the supply of goods, tax on the supply of goods. Tax on supply of services or the tax on supply of both of these. Except taxes on supply of alcoholic liquor for human consumption. GST is a tax which is imposed on supply of goods and services or on both, but it will not be levied on alcoholic liquor for human consumption. You might get shocked and say, sir, what are you even saying here? Will there really be no tax levied on alcoholic liquor? It should definitely apply on it. Listen carefully, GST will not be levied on this, but there are other taxes levied on this. Yes, it's not applied on alcohol. Why? First, I will tell you about the taxes on alcohol, then you will understand. On alcohol. Alcohol for human consumption. What taxes were levied under the old regime? Tell me this first. Two taxes were levied in old tax regime. One was the manufacturing tax. And the second was sales tax. On manufacturing, excise duty is imposed. Every product that was there, it was subjected to excise duty, and that was central excise duty. Whose revenue went to central government? I had explained this earlier, and revenue on sale was VAT or CST. Within states VAT and interstate CST, but both of these revenues used to go to the state government. In case of alcohol excise duty that was imposed, its name was not central excise duty. There was only one excise duty that was collected by state government, only one excise duty that state government used to get. Which one? It was alcohols. On manufacturing, state excise duty was imposed. And on sale, it was VAT or CST. If it's sold within state, then VAT, and if it's outside state, then CST. This revenue used to go to who? State government. Now what is there? Even today the same thing is there. Even today, state excise duty, VAT / CST is applicable, and complete revenue goes to state government. Understand this why? When there was talk about introducing GST, all state governments agreed to it. Earlier there was too much chaos, as I told you. Before the BJP came, the biggest problem was there were plans for national GST. In national GST, entire revenue would go to central government. No state government was agreeing, that's why it took 10 to 15 years, but GST was never introduced. Later on, when PM Modi came to power in 2014, he changed the atmosphere. He said they will give half of the revenue to state government. The GST that will come, it will be dual GST. Half will be given to central government, other half to state government. Slowly state governments made up their mind. They were like, it's okay that at least half of the revenue will come. But still, state government was concerned, what if their revenue decreases and whatever is currently coming is more? What if after doing calculation for half their revenue decreases then? The central government said 14% guarantee of increase of 14%. You are getting 100 rupees, we are taking guarantee of 114. If you won't get, we will give. State governments thought it's beneficial for them. We even got guarantee that if we get less, we will be compensated. Furthermore, the state's average revenue increase was only 12% in the country, while the central government was just spending lavishly. Now, I know that you will ask, and this question comes many times, that why was the government doing this? You have to understand. Okay? And when you will step into the business, then you will understand that this was all business. Between central government and state government, how will you not agree? Okay? We will definitely do this. It was like this. We introduced dual GST. That's fine. Now, what do you want? You are saying that you want revenue guarantee, we gave you revenue guarantee. After that, state government said, they would not give one thing. That is revenue of alcohol. Because there are some states in our country that says, if alcohol is banned, then entire state will be closed. Okay? Means if alcohol is banned, state will be closed. Nothing can happen without this. Its revenue is this big. Alcohol has always been state matter. As you see, in some states, alcohol is sold and in some it's not. Do you know this? Like in Bihar, alcohol is not sold. Okay? But it's sold in UP. This is because it's matter of state government. State government decides whether to sell alcohol or not because its revenue will be obtained by them only. So some states said that they will not give up the revenue of alcohol. Their state runs because of it. While there are some states that their 30% of revenue, just listen to me properly, their 30% revenue is only and only from alcohol. How will the state government give up such revenue, such big revenue? Okay. States like Goa will be finished if this revenue goes to the central government. So the government said, let's do one thing. Let's not include alcohol under GST. Take it, it's yours. This has been written where? In the Constitution. In Constitution, now I want to explain a small point to you. The Constitution, right? The Constitution is not something that can be easily changed. The entire parliament has to sit together. Then Constitution is amended. Our income tax law and the GST law through a notification. The ruling government can just by giving a notification can change these laws. Now tell me, if the GST law states that there would be no tax on alcohol, then state government would not have much confidence. They would be scared that any day ruling party can change law and they can't do anything about it, right? And Modi ji said, don't worry, it's Modi's guarantee. Okay? This is written in Constitution. And to change it is almost very difficult. It's written there that GST will be levied on supply of all goods and services, but will not be applicable on alcohol. Is it clear? Furthermore, students, now you do one thing in your notebook on one page. On a page, please all of you give a heading that we will do very slowly and steadily, okay? And slowly we will study this thing, no GST, on what things GST is not applicable. Now we will get it in different places. Like we found somewhere in the definition of GST which says alcohol for human consumption is not subject to GST. Likewise, we can find some things in definition of goods and others in definition of service. We will find other things in some other places. We will complete the list here. Will that be okay? You can also forget that what are the things that are not subject to GST and why was it not applicable. Reason will also not be remembered that why it was not applicable and from where it was excluded. So we are creating a chart, a very beautiful and good chart. First, we will write alcoholic liquor. We won't write anything else on this page. This list will be completed in upcoming classes. This will be on new page. Alcoholic liquor for human consumption, GST not applicable on it. Then put dash and we'll write its reason that why it's not applicable, or write below this that on alcoholic liquor for human consumption why GST is not applicable. Not included in definition of GST. GST given in Constitution. In our Constitution, in definition of GST, alcoholic liquor for human consumption is excluded. Okay? If we study something on this, we will continue to write here. And let's change the page now. We don't need to use this page more. Okay, now moving on. Determine whether GST is applicable. You have to tell if GST will be applied or not. First one is Kingfisher beer. What is this beer? There are many varieties of alcohol. Okay? My information on this subject is very limited because, look, I have nothing to do with it. Okay? However, as far as I know, there are many varieties of alcohol, such as we call it wine, red wine, white wine, beer and scotch, right? All right? Rum and vodka. So, these all are varieties of alcohol. So, these are all alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Does GST apply to this? No, it doesn't. So, this Kingfisher beer, GST will not be applicable on this, not applicable. Hence, guys, what does it mean? The government is saying drink and stay happy because alcohol is cheap. No, because there is a tax imposed on this and the state government tax is applied on it. Which one? State excise duty is applied and VAT/CST is also applied on this. Oh, yes, right. Now let's see next. Codirex cough syrup. This is a medicinal preparation, a medicine that uses alcohol. Do you know about this? If this is a 100 ml bottle, then I think in this around 10 to 15 ml of alcohol will be present. It may not be accurate, maybe less or more. It should have 10 to 15 ml of alcohol. Clear? Therefore, tell me, will GST be applied on this or not? I will tell you one more thing. Have you heard of dry day? Dry day? Dry day. What is a dry day? Everyone who drinks alcohol knows this. They will tell you right away. What is dry day? The day when alcohol shops are closed. When liquor shops are closed, that day is called as dry day, such as August 15th and January 26th. Also on Gandhi Jayanti on October 2nd. Hence, what happens on all these days? Alcohol is not allowed to be sold. Okay? So you will see on that day that most of the people buy Codirex cough syrup, even though these people already have ample liquor in stock. They are worried when shops are closed how to get drunk. Otherwise, those who don't have any stock, they buy Codirex cough syrup. So if they drink 10 bottles, then there will be 10 to 15 ml of alcohol in each. So 10 bottles will complete a 100 ml quota, right? Wait, let me give you an example, then you will understand this. When you were a child and after drinking Codirex, you would have felt sleepy, right? Do you remember it? Right? That was because of alcohol. That's why you felt sleepy. You can drink and check it. But you have grown up, you may not feel sleepy, you will enjoy drinking this, okay? You will definitely feel dizzy after drinking. Because when 10 ml liquor will go in your body, you will feel good. Therefore, this is a medicinal preparation. Using alcohol, will GST be applied on this? The answer is GST will be levied. Because this is not an alcoholic liquor for human consumption. When it is an alcoholic liquor for human consumption, means if it is a liquor that is consumed like alcohol. Okay, so there is no GST on that. GST applies to rest. It's not like alcohol is used. So GST is not applicable. That is what I wanted to explain. So GST is applicable on this. This is a medicinal preparation containing alcoholic liquor. It is not alcohol for human consumption. This is not an alcohol that means the alcohol that comes for human consumption. It's not that. It should not be consumed as alcohol. This has to be consumed as a medicinal preparation. It is a medicine. Right? So GST is applicable on it. Do you guys know that apart from this, alcohol is used in many other things? Should I tell you? In hair dye, alcohol is used. Hair dye, the color you apply on your hair. Okay? In deodorants, alcohol is used. Aftershave lotion, I made it, alcohol is used in this. Tell me, will GST be levied on these items? Yes, it will be levied. These are all toiletry preparations. They are toiletry preparations. So GST is also applicable on these. Done? Now we will study definition of goods. Where is this given? In the CGST Act. The things written in the CGST Act, are they also written in SGST Act? Yes. Are they in UTGST Act? Yes. Are they written in the IGST Act? Yes. I told you all this. These are copy paste all the acts. Okay. What do we have to read primarily? We have to read CGST Act. So we are starting to look at definitions from CGST Act. The definition of GST you saw, where was it? It was in the Constitution, not in the CGST Act. Okay. What is the definition of goods? And goods means every kind of movable property. Okay. So only movable goods are goods. Immovable goods meaning they are not goods. This is given. Goods refers to every kind of movable property. Okay, and I also have to tell you one more thing. Immovable property is not goods. Okay? Now tell me one more thing. If something is not goods, then can GST be levied? No, because GST is levied on goods or on services or on both. Okay, now we are saying movable goods, that is movable goods, but it does not fall under the definition of goods. Can it be a service? No, it's not a service, it's movable goods. It's goods, but it does not fall under the definition of goods. Right, guys? GST will not apply to it. It has been removed from goods definition. That means it's removed from GST. GST will only be applicable on something if it is goods or a service. If it is neither of these, then GST won't apply. If we exclude something from goods definition, then GST won't be applicable. And if we exclude something from definition of services, GST won't be applicable. If it's excluded from the definition of both, GST won't be applicable. It should come in any one of the definition. Such as movable goods, movable property means movable goods. Therefore, that is goods, but it is outside the definition of goods. There is no scope for service and service is not even there. We can't think of it. Like that is goods, but it falls beyond definition of goods. That's why it's excluded from GST. No GST case. So you were making notes on no GST. Start writing under this heading. Immovable property. Immovable property means land. And building, this is immovable property. Okay. Why there is no GST on this? You can write not included in the definition of goods. This is not in definition of goods, so GST won't be applicable. In the case of land, GST will never be applicable. But in case of building, understand this. Like a complete building is called a building when the construction is taking place. Till then, if we take it during construction period, if we are taking it, then it will be called as construction service. Let me explain this. If there is a builder, okay, do you know when he will start selling the flats? There is a builder who will buy a land today, or he will take the land on contract. And then guys, he will make a drawing of it, okay? He will make a demo flat and will start selling, okay? And he will say that this will be a 20-story building with 12 towers in it. The flat will look like this demo flat that is already built. Start booking. And you pay the booking amount while the building is being constructed. Whatever money we pay to builder while building is being constructed, pay attention, that's not for building as it's not completed. Okay, that's not an immovable property. That's construction service. It is called construction service. Okay, in many places, you will think that this shouldn't be said like this. It should be said in another way. But this is not in your control whether it should be said or not. Many definitions are molded in the way government takes tax. If government wants to take taxes like this, then the government molds the definition accordingly. Definitions are made according to the taxes. Right? Our definitions are biased in order to collect taxes. Hence, you cannot find any logical point of your own in it. That, sir, I don't get it because it cannot be changed as per your concern. Okay? It has to come the way the government wants to collect taxes. Okay? So don't do logical interpretation for it. Don't try to point out the grammatical errors or meanings in it. What government says? That until the building is ready and when the building is completed, you are purchasing immovable property that is in goods. So GST won't be applied. But if you are during the construction paying the money, then that's not a building, not immovable property. That means the money you are paying is for construction services. And this is a service, construction service, on which GST will be applied. Did you understand this? Now let's see this through an example. What I did? I saw a demo flat today. Construction has been started in the premises and I paid 10 lakhs as down payment to purchase flat. It's of 1 crore rupees. 10 lakh down payment was made. 10 lakhs are subject to GST. Then after 6 months, I gave him 30 lakhs more. Construction is still going on. GST will also be levied on 30 lakhs. What is the total now? First 30 and then 40. Now it became 40 lakh rupees. Okay. I gave him another 50 lakhs after 6 months. Construction is ongoing. GST will be charged on 50 lakhs. Total is 90 lakh rupees. Now the flat is ready. The builder is saying that now give the remaining money and do flats registry. Okay. So I gave him another 10 lakhs and the builder registered the flat in my name. Will GST be applied on this 10 lakhs? The answer is no, it won't be applicable. Why? Because the money that we are paying now is for the immovable property. Did you understand this concept? And now that flat I bought, I did not pay any GST on the last payment of 10 lakhs rupees. I am selling it to someone else in 1.5 crore. Will that buyer give me GST? The answer is no. Or few flats of builder that are still left, they were not sold yet for 1 crore rupees. He is selling it now. He is taking complete 1 crore rupees at once and selling it. Okay, he is taking complete 1 crore at once and selling it. Will the builder charge GST? No, because now he is selling immovable property. Land and building are immovable property. He is selling immovable property. GST is not applied on it. Okay. Now, you would say, taxes on these 10 lakhs are saved, but nothing is saved. From tax, stamp duty is applicable on purchase or sale of immovable property. You must be knowing it. On stamp paper, everything is written and we have to pay for the cost of the stamp paper. And its cost is approximately, and it's different in every state. In our state, on properties in our state, it's 7%. In some of the states, it can be less or more. Our state charges 7%. Furthermore, if it is a woman, if there is woman buyer of property, then up to 10 lakhs rupees, it's 6.5%, while beyond that 7% is applied. In case of mail, it's 7% stamp duty. If you buy property worth 1 crore rupees, stamp duty of 7 lakhs rupees will be applied. Okay. 7% is applied, and now the question arises, so you would ask that, sir, on 90 lakhs rupees, you gave GST as well. Now you are doing payment of 10 lakhs rupees and buying flat worth 1 crore rupees. So stamp duty that will be charged, will it be of 10 lakhs at 7% or it will be 1 crore rupees? The answer is it will be 1 crore. Because there is no change in the old laws. They are working as per old rules, right? The government has taken stamp duty on rupees 1 crore and government has also taken GST on 90 lakhs rupees as well. And now you will say that, sir, but you had taught us in the class and you even repeatedly stated that there is no tax on tax. Okay? Government has eliminated tax on tax through this new law of GST. I can't do anything. Whatever the government is saying, I am just repeating. Okay? There are still some places where tax is being applied. You can see this here. And I hope that very soon the government will remove the stamp duty and the GST law will come in place of it. Right? The GST may come. Therefore, all the exclusions you see and that the chart you are making here on this board, alcohol for human consumption, immovable property, all will be subject to GST. It will take time because even this much is getting out of hand. Whatever is going on is itself in chaos. And you will know all about it in future. It will take time, but all of this will come, and once it comes, all of this will be over. You see, it is already over to a large extent. Okay, it's on limited places. That some tax on tax is coming. There is no tax on tax. I will tell you this. Tax on tax is not even here. On one thing, tax is applied 2 times. That's definitely double taxation, but there is no tax on tax. What I want to say, understand this. For example, you paid 90 lakhs rupees plus GST. So 90 lakhs plus GST that has come and plus 10 lakhs rupees that is paid. Stamp duty is not applicable on that. Just 90 lakhs plus 10 lakhs, it is on 1 crore only. There is no tax on tax, but double tax is applied. It's applied twice, and 2 different taxes are applied on same amount, but tax on tax is not applying. Okay? However, government claims they have removed double taxation and tax on tax. But that is not 100% correct point. Okay? Those very common taxes are now removed. They included most of the tax on tax, like biggest tax on tax was VAT, which was charged on excise. So all the products are manufactured, the goods are being made, right? So if you are buying any kind of product, in India, no matter which product is bought, first there was manufacturing, then excise, then VAT was applied, which means tax on tax was there on all products, right? A major portion is gone means a big trouble is gone, which is why the government is saying tax on tax has been removed. Means every kind of movable property, other than money and securities. Other than money and securities, it means that money and securities are also not the goods. Other than money and securities are also not goods. Oh, first it is saying movable property, meaning it's not immovable property. Other than money and securities, meaning money and securities are also not goods. If money and securities are not goods, you need to consider whether it is services. If it's service, then GST will apply. If anything falls under goods or services, GST applies, and now you will say, why didn't we think that here? In case of immovable property, is it a service or not? But immovable property means goods. Okay, it's not a service, right? How would we look for immovables in services? That doesn't exist, right? It's not even a category. Maybe it is saying money and securities as services. So we thought, let's see. In services, it is saying means anything other than goods. It should not be goods, okay? And it should not be money and securities. Other than money and securities. Money and securities aren't in goods or services, so no GST applies. Something must come in goods and services, right? In third, we will write money and securities. What is money? Our country's money is the one which has a picture of Gandhiji on it. Okay? Coins too. Coins, all this is money. Okay? Coin and notes. Should we write? Coin and notes. What are securities? Share, bond, debentures. These are neither goods nor services. This means there is no GST on their purchase and sale. Okay? And we will write down the reason here, neither goods nor services means it's none. If there's nothing, then no GST. But includes Activity relating to use of money. First read the one above. But includes actionable claims. Actionable claim will come under the definition of goods. I won't explain actionable claim in much detail right now. I'll just give you a little bit of knowledge about it. Actionable claim means when anything which you are not entitled to suddenly comes to you, that's called actionable. Okay, we will take a very small example and I will explain the actionable claim in a detailed way. When we'll discuss 5 to 6 items related to this, and its discussion will come up in GST schedules, there's a schedule 3. When we will study it, 4 to 5 more things on actionable claims will come up. Okay, I'll relate everything and explain it together. Just understand this for now. You had a relative. He gave his car to one of his friend. Okay, that friend borrowed the car for 4 days as he was going somewhere. And so what did your relative do? He lent his car to his friend. Okay, your relative's friend took that car and your relative died during that time. Okay, and you happen to be his only relative left now. So the friend of your relative who took the car brings it back and hands it to you saying, take it, it's yours as the friend from whom I had taken this car has passed away. When something unexpected comes your way without anyone informing you, it's actionable claim. I'll provide more examples, don't worry. But for now, these are goods. This is goods, actionable claim is goods, okay? Growing crops, grass and other things attached to a farming part of land which are agreed to be severed before supply or under a contract of supply. Here it's telling us that if there are trees and plants on the land, all these things are there. Okay? If you cut those trees from the ground and then sell it, it is saying that it will be goods too. Essentially what is being conveyed is that there are trees on a piece of land and you are selling that land along with the trees. Okay, it has 20 to 25 trees. You sell land along with the trees. Okay? It's saying that the money received is immovable property and not the goods. Please understand again. There are crops on land and if you cut the crops and sell it, then it's called the goods. But if there is a crop on the land and you sell the land along with the standing crop, it's saying that it is immovable property. GST isn't applied on it. Clear? If you sell the crop without harvesting and sell the land along with it. If the land is sold along with the crops, then that's not goods. Okay? It is saying growing crops, grass or other things attached to a farming part of the land which are agreed to be severed before supply or under a contract of supply where it's been said that this will be cut from the land and then supplied. Then they are goods. Okay? Services. Services mean anything other than goods, money and securities but include activities relating to the use of money or its conversion by cash or by any mode from one form of currency or denomination to another form, currency or denomination for which a separate consideration is charged. It's saying that if you are changing currency from one form to another or if you are changing its denomination which causes you to pay some consideration separately, it's saying that then GST will be applied on it. Suppose you asked me for 500 rupees change. I said, okay, I will give you 5 notes of 100 rupees, but I also asked for extra 5 rupees separately. You gave an extra 5 rupees to me to get a change of 500 rupees. So it's saying that GST will be levied on this extra 5 rupees. Listen again. Here they are saying that money does not come under goods and services. It means that you exchanged a 500 rupees note with me for 5 notes of 100 rupees. Is there a supply of money? Yes. Will GST apply? No. Money is neither goods nor service. Won't apply on that. But it's saying that in this, if you are doing something within this money supply that is getting you some money, like I said that in return for change of 500 rupees, I will charge extra 5 rupees from you. I gave you 5 notes of 100 rupees for a note of 500 rupees, but I also took extra 5 rupees. So GST is on this 5 rupee. Or when you ask for 500 rupees change, I did not give entire 500 rupees. By the way, change is also called futkar in Hindi. Okay? When you gave me 500 rupees, one 500 rupee note, then I gave you 495 rupees in return as change. So I took rupees 5 from you. That's what it means, right? GST will be applied on 5 rupees. Listen again. $1 is 85 rupees. Okay? Let's suppose that you gave me 85 rupees and then I gave you $1 in return. Okay? So what have I done in this case? I have charged an extra 1 rupee from you because the actual rate of $1 was only 84 rupees. So GST is applied to this 1 rupee. Clear? So, extra money is charged for the conversion. If the money's form or denomination is changing, where we are charging some fees for that, then what will be levied? GST will be levied. Okay? Why? Because that will be called a service. It is considering that as service. What is next? Services includes facilitating or arranging transactions in securities. If a charge is levied for facilitating a security transaction, GST will apply. Understand this again. If you buy a Reliance share for 100 rupees, okay, Reliance sold you a share for 100 rupees and you gave 100 rupees. Will GST apply? No, it is shares or securities. Share securities don't fall under definition of goods or services, so GST won't be levied. But if you bought Reliance company's share for 100 rupees through a broker, broker got you this for 101 rupees. 100 rupees for share and 1 rupee for brokerage. It's saying that rupee 1 is for facilitating the transaction. This is a service, this incurs GST. GST will be levied on 1 rupee. 1 rupee is services value. Did you understand this? Now GST rate on that is 18%, so 18% of rupee 1 is 18 paise, and 18 paise GST will be charged. Is this clear to everyone? Explaining again. Imagine you bought shares of Study at Home Private Limited. Let's say these 100 shares cost 50,000 rupees per share. You bought a share for 50,000 rupees. Will I charge GST? No. But if you bought Study at Home shares through a broker for 50,000 rupees, and he said that they will also charge you 1% brokerage. How much is 1% brokerage of 50,000? 500 rupees. So the 500 rupees he took as brokerage, GST will be levied on that because it is a service. Okay? However, right now, what will be GST rate on what and how will it be charged? We shouldn't be discussing that. Okay? Because right now, we just need to know whether it is a goods or a service. Is it possible that even though it's goods and services, GST won't apply? Yes, GST is also exempt for many things and GST is 0%. Or GST would be exempted on many things. I am not in a place to discuss it now, but what can I do? Just to give you a little flavor, a context, I am explaining like this. Okay, being classified as goods and services doesn't mean that GST will apply. It's just there in definition of goods and services. There is still the possibility, however, that it may be GST exempt. There is a possibility that GST is applicable at some rate. Do you understand what is service? If it's not goods, money or securities, it's a service. Oh God, whatever you do in this world is a service now. Do you see how broad the definition of service is? If it's not goods, money or securities, then it's all services. Okay? Removing thorns from someone's foot and took 500 rupees, is it a service? Yes, it's service. Can you see how vast the scope of GST is? Everything is a service. Whatever you are doing is a service. Okay? You helped a blind person cross the road. Is it a service? Yes, it's a service. Answers yes, it's service. Whether GST will apply or not, I'll tell you later. Are you taking consideration? You wouldn't be taking money, would you? If you are, GST would also apply. Okay? Now coming to the definition of money. What is money? So here the words money and securities were used. Let's understand what is money and what is securities. Money means the Indian legal tender. Indian legal tender means on which Gandhiji is there, okay? So the notes and coins are the Indian legal tender. Rupees are Indian legal tender. Any foreign currency, meaning dollars and pounds, are all considered money. Check, promissory note, bill of exchange, letter of credit, draft, pay order, traveler's check, money order, postal or electronic remittance, or any other instrument recognized by RBI. Anything equivalent to the cash. Anything equal to money is considered money. For example, if you have a check, or do you know what is traveler's check? We are going to Dubai for vacation, so we'll get a traveler's check for rupees 1 lakh from an Indian bank and convert it in Dubai. Let's say that we are taking cash, but what if it gets stolen? So, with the traveler's check, we will get it converted, okay? People send money orders from the post office to their relatives. It's called a money order. A letter of credit. This is used in the international trade. Like if we are ordering goods from abroad, and seller is asking to give the money, but we are saying, how can we pay money? Give the goods first. He says, how can I give you goods? Give money first. means they're unable to build mutual trust. So what we do in such cases, we get him a guarantee from our bank. Okay, it will assure seller he will get his money. The guarantee that the bank issues is called a letter of credit. Okay, basically in the domestic trade, when supply happens within India, then the letter that a bank gives is called a guarantee letter. Okay, it's a guarantee letter only, but it has a different name in international trade. It is called a letter of credit. So all of these are equal to cash, like a letter of credit. Once issued, a person can go to a foreign bank and receive the payment. It can be used abroad as the bank has issued a guarantee on paper which is equal to cash. If someone has a guarantee of 10 lakhs on paper, then this is equivalent to 10 lakh rupees. Okay? So it is saying that all this is money. Okay? So, when used as a consideration to settle an obligation. When we use these instruments to settle obligations, for instance, we had to pay money, but instead we are paying it like this. Like paying with a check, letter of credit or pay order instead of giving cash. Or exchange with Indian legal tender of any denomination. Or we are converting this value to Indian denomination and taking that. But shall not include any currency that is held for its numismatic value. It means any currency that has numismatic value is not considered money. The currency which has what? Currency which has numismatic value. That currency is not considered money. Do you know what numismatic value means? Numismatic value means limited edition currency. Ever heard of limited edition currency? Currency that is produced in limited quantities. Like how many of you have seen a 50 rupee coin? I don't think any one of you have seen it. Or maybe some of you have seen it, so tell me who has seen it. And please let me know in the comments how many of you have seen a 50 rupee coin. I have one. 50 rupee coin. I am sure a large number of individuals would have never seen a 50 rupee coin in their lifetime, a coin of 50 rupees. Indian 50 rupees, okay? Do you know it came a long time ago and it was made in very less quantities and very few people have it these days. So if I buy goods worth rupees 50, will I give the coin to someone? No, I think the market value of that 50 rupees coin will be much higher, and if I sell it, it will be sold for 1 lakh rupees. It is a 50 rupees coin, but I am sure that it can be sold for 1 lakh rupees or even more. It might have more worth. This kind of currency is called to have numismatic value which can be sold at a higher price. Okay. A limited edition, the currency made in extremely limited numbers close to handful. Okay. So, now its analysis like the sale of coin collection set of 100 coins. Suppose I have a collection of 100 coins. For example, what is the collection of coins? I have 1 paisa, 2 paisa and so on. There used to be 1 paisa, 2 paisa. I don't even know if 3 paisa existed, suppose it did. 1 paisa, 2 paisa, 3 paisa, 4 paisa, 5 paisa. Followed by 10 paisa, 15 paisa, 20 paisa, 25 paisa, and this is my old collection from the old times. Okay, so this is a collection of 100 coins. Now tell me, if you were to add their value together, how much would it be? Probably around 25 to 30 rupees. But is its value 25 to 30 rupees? It could sell for 50,000 rupees. If you have a collection like this or have a limited edition currency, then that of course is not considered money. Are you getting this? If you sell it, then GST will apply. Okay? If I sell a coin of 50 rupees and make money from it, such an action would be called as goods. This is goods. Whether GST will be levied on this, that's another matter. This is goods. Okay. If you give a 50 rupee note and take 5 notes of 10 rupees from someone, then this is simply money. It is not goods or services. But if I have money with numismatic value, then it is considered goods. It's saying that if we sell this collection of coins, it will be considered a supply of goods and will be subject to GST. Okay? These coins are known for their numismatic value. Numismatic value means something that's rare, the value of something that is rare. Okay? Next, what are securities? Should I even explain this? Securities shall have the same meaning assigned in Securities Contract Act. Securities mean shares, bonds and debentures. These are securities. Okay, if we sell this, if we sell shares, bonds, debentures, then this is not a supply of goods and services. There is no GST on this. But if I took some brokerage for selling them, then that brokerage is a supply of service and GST will be levied on it. Understood? When we are changing the form of money. So the extra amount of money you are taking is the supply of service. Okay. And the numismatic ones are entirely goods. Coins with numismatic value and other such currencies are considered supply of goods. Okay? Shall I make you write this down? Brokerage. On. Sale of securities. This is supply of services. Okay? Commission. On. Conversion of money means if we charged or took commission for converting money from one form to another or for denomination conversion, then it's supply of service. Okay? Then transfer or the sale, sale of currency having numismatic value. It's entirely supply of goods. Okay? So, students, that's enough for today's class. We'll end today's class here. I will discuss new things with you in the next class. We will stop here. But please, before coming to the next class, you have to revise this topic well. Goodbye.